Have you ever swapped a steak for a bowl of lentils and wondered if it actually does anything to your body, or if it is just a feeling? Here is a number worth sitting with. Every year, 18 million people die from cardiovascular disease. That makes it the single leading cause of death on the entire planet, ahead of every cancer combined. The disease behind most of those deaths has a name most people have heard but few really understand. It is called atherosclerosis, and it starts decades before anyone ever feels a symptom. Think of your arteries like pipes carrying blood instead of water. Atherosclerosis is what happens when fatty deposits slowly build up on the inside walls of those pipes, year after year, narrowing the space blood has to flow through. The main culprit doing the clogging is a type of cholesterol particle called LDL, the one doctors call bad cholesterol. The more of it floating in your blood, the more gets stuck to artery walls over time. Scientists have recently started looking at an even more precise marker called apolipoprotein B, or ApoB for short. It counts the actual number of cholesterol-carrying particles in your blood, not just how much cholesterol they contain. Have you ever wondered why doctors obsess over a single number on your blood work? This is why. Fewer of these particles circulating means less material available to clog the pipes in the first place. Now here is where diet comes in. For years, a growing number of people have been dropping meat and dairy from their plates, and not just for animal welfare reasons. Climate change has become a huge part of that shift. Producing meat, especially beef, requires far more land, water, and energy than growing vegetables, grains, or legumes. So what actually counts as vegetarian or vegan? A vegetarian diet cuts out meat and fish, but usually still allows eggs or dairy. A vegan diet goes further and removes every animal product entirely. Have you ever tried going a full day without meat and wondered whether your body even noticed? Millions of people have asked themselves that exact question over the last decade. One of the most common worries is protein. People assume that without meat, you simply cannot get enough of it. Beans, lentils, tofu, and whole grains all carry meaningful amounts of protein, but the worry persists anyway. The bigger, quieter question researchers actually wanted answered was different. Not whether plant-based eating feels virtuous, but whether it changes the actual chemistry of your blood in a way that matters for your heart. That question had not been properly revisited in a long time. The last major review pulling together clinical trials on this topic was published back in 2017, before ApoB testing became common, and before dozens of newer trials existed. Meanwhile, the science around cholesterol kept moving. Researchers became increasingly convinced that triglyceride-rich particles, not just plain LDL, also play a real role in clogging arteries over time. It is worth remembering that plant-based eating is not the only diet linked to a healthier heart. The Mediterranean diet, built around olive oil, fish, and vegetables rather than red meat, has shown similar heart benefits in other major trials. Have you ever wondered why heart-healthy diets from completely different cultures, from the Mediterranean coast to strict vegan kitchens, all seem to land on the same basic idea? Less animal fat, more plants. There is also a bigger global reason this question matters right now. The United Nations set a goal to cut early deaths from non-communicable diseases, like heart disease, by 1/3 before 2030. Cardiovascular disease is the single biggest driver behind that death toll, which means anything that reliably lowers artery-clogging cholesterol at a population level is not a small finding. It is a public health lever. There is also the question of medication. Statins are extremely effective at lowering cholesterol, but like any drug, they come with side effects for some people, and not everyone wants to be on a pill for life. So could diet alone move the needle enough to matter, or complement medication instead of replacing it? That question is exactly what a team of researchers set out to settle, using the best kind of evidence science has to offer. Before we get to what they found, it helps to understand why the type of study matters as much as the result itself. Not all nutrition science is created equal. Most nutrition headlines come from observational studies, where researchers simply watch what people already eat and track their health over time. The problem is that people who already eat healthier tend to also exercise more, smoke less, and see doctors more often. That tangle of habits makes it incredibly hard to know if the food itself caused the better health, or if healthier people just happen to also eat better. Untangling cause from coincidence needs a different kind of study entirely. The gold standard is a randomized controlled trial, where researchers assign diets to people essentially by a coin flip, rather than letting people choose their own. That randomization is what allows scientists to actually claim cause and effect. Have you ever wondered why some diet claims get overturned a few years later? Very often, it is because the original evidence was only observational, and a proper randomized trial later told a different, more reliable story. Fat itself is not one single thing either. Saturated fat, found heavily in red meat, butter, and full-fat dairy, behaves very differently in your body than the unsaturated fats found in nuts, seeds, and vegetable oils. One specific unsaturated fat, called linoleic acid, is especially common in plant-based diets. It is known to push the liver to build more LDL receptors, which act almost like extra doors that pull cholesterol out of the bloodstream and clear it away. Less saturated fat and cholesterol coming in from food, combined with more of those clearance doors opening up in the liver. Two separate mechanisms, both quietly pulling numbers in the same direction. So does switching to a vegetarian or vegan diet actually deliver on that promise in real people, not just in theory? A team of Danish cardiologists decided to find out, and they did not settle for a handful of small studies. They searched years of published medical literature and pulled together every randomized controlled trial they could find that tested a vegetarian or vegan diet against a normal meat-eating diet, and measured blood cholesterol afterward. In the end, they combined 30 separate clinical trials, spanning 4 decades of research from 1982 all the way to 2022, with almost 2,400 participants in total across all of them combined. Most of the trials were run in the United States, with additional ones from Sweden, Finland, South Korea, Australia, Brazil, and a handful of other countries. Trial lengths range from just 10 days up to 5 full years. Half the trials tested a vegetarian diet, and the other half tested a fully vegan diet, giving researchers enough data to compare both approaches directly rather than lumping every plant-based eater into one group. Now for the part that actually matters. What happened to the numbers when people switched away from meat and dairy toward a plant-based diet? Total cholesterol dropped by 34 millimoles per liter, roughly 13 milligrams per deciliter, compared to people who kept eating meat and dairy. That is not a huge number on its own, but it showed up consistently across the pooled data. LDL cholesterol, the bad kind that does most of the clogging, dropped by 30 millimoles per liter, about 12 milligrams per deciliter. And apolipoprotein B, that more precise particle count, dropped by nearly 13 milligrams per deciliter as well. Triglycerides, interestingly, barely moved at all. Whatever mechanism is driving these changes, it seems to target cholesterol-carrying particles specifically, not every type of fat in the blood. Here is what really stood out to the researchers. They split the results apart by age, by continent, by how long each trial lasted, by whether people were already healthy or already at cardiovascular risk, and by whether the diet was vegetarian or fully vegan. None of those factors meaningfully changed the outcome. The drop in cholesterol showed up whether someone was young or older, in the United States or Europe, on the diet for a few weeks or a couple of years. The one group that responded slightly less was people with obesity, whose liver and gut tend to produce more cholesterol on their own regardless of diet, which somewhat blunts the effect of any dietary change. The apolipoprotein B finding deserves one honest caveat. It came from only 6 of the 30 trials, a much smaller slice of the total evidence than the cholesterol numbers, so researchers are treating it as promising rather than fully settled. There are other limits worth mentioning too. Most trials lasted under a year, so nobody yet knows for certain whether this effect holds steady over decades of eating this way. Nobody could blind participants to what was on their plate either. Still, with 2,372 participants across 30 randomized trials, this is now the largest collection of trial evidence ever assembled on this exact question, and the first to look closely at apolipoprotein B at all. None of this means everyone needs to become fully vegan overnight. But it does mean that eating a bit less meat and a bit more plants is no longer just a feel-good choice for the planet. The blood test numbers back it up too, and for a dietary shift that also happens to cut greenhouse gas emissions tied to food production by roughly 1/3 to 1/2, the case keeps getting harder to brush aside on health grounds alone.